Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Tonight we are back with a brand new Put a Ring On. It's season 2, episode 3. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and an entertaining twist and a little bit of shade. If you are here for a second or third time, then welcome back. Please do not hesitate to hit that like button if you get anything out of the content. Subscribe and share with a friend. Now child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. So when the episode first opens up, the couples are sitting there talking to Dr. Ponytail and whatnot and trying to get the instructions for the day. So she lets them know that all the couples will be going on a date in the same area all at the same time, right? So we see that the couples are going out at the same time. Larhonda said, listen, based on history, I'm not quite confident that Shon can be in the same room. Honey, based on last week's episode, I don't even know the history, but I know Shon cannot be in the same room. Okay? I don't even need the history. Oh, poor Larhonda, honey. So Dr. Nicole said, I know you're thinking, what the hell, Dr. Nicole? Yes, we are. We're thinking, what the hell? We're also thinking, what the hell made them sign up for this show? She said, the goal is to focus on yourself and the date. The goal is to trust your partner. Honey, good luck with the trust part, honey. They letting Dr. Nicole play in their face. So then, all of a sudden, we see Dr. Nicole say to Alexia, so Alexia, how you feeling? Kai's coming back. What? First of all, why you say it like that? Secondly, how do you think she feels? Alexis was like, okay, I know that's right, y'all. Alexis is having an out-of-body experience, honey. This is really tough on her. And you're asking this of her like it's something normal. Kai's coming back. And so what? Child, her strong face behind can go somewhere else, child. So she's like, look, I want to trust him, but he's a rapper, and you know what that comes with. Alexia, honey, we done been through this for the past 2 reviews now, honey. He's an ex-rapper. Unless he put out some music, honey, I don't want to hear nothing about it. Unless he got a TikTok dance in honor of Phil Mob, I don't want to hear nothing else about it. Child, she is more into his career than him. I have to say, girl, you are his #1 fan. But Darian, are you still putting out music or not, honey? Let me know something. So then she says, he knows not to do anything if I'm there. Honey, it's not him you got to worry about. It's Kai. She can't be trusted, okay, at all. So then Dr. Nicole says, trust is a foundation, and this will help identify the feelings of insecurity and an opportunity to handle them differently. Child, this experiment is too dangerous, okay? I'm telling you right now, it cannot be trusted. It's time for the dates, and y'all know that's my favorite part. So Jessica comes downstairs dressed in her Fashion Nova's finest, and Eric is like, oh, you look good, baby. He acting better this time. Okay, Eric, I guess he getting used to it, but Eric, why you keep wearing this do-rag, honey? Oh, child, you gonna lay that little hair down if you don't do nothing else? You gonna lay that little hair down. Eric said, I am not gonna let y'all shame me, honey. As long as there's some hair up there, I'm gonna wear my do-rag. Well, you put it on. You go ahead and put it on, Eric. So then Clarence shows up. Body for the gods, okay? He's 33, a bodybuilder, an overall funny guy, and Clarence is good looking. Honey, Eric better be careful, because Jessica likes the zhuzh of it all, okay? He said that he's looking for a charismatic girl to have a good time. He rings the doorbell, and she's like, you're not going to get it? And he's like, nah, I'm chilling. Yeah, because you got a date this time, too. That's why you chilling. Eric was acting like a big boy with Clarence when he came in. And Clarence fine behind came on upstairs, honey. And he was talking. He was very respectful. Him and Eric, shared a little bit of banter. And they both were respectful with each other. And I like that. Eric was like, y'all make sure y'all have a good time. I'm like, oh, he pushing him on out the door, honey. But Jessica was very impressed with how he handled himself. They were both respectful, and I like to see it. So then Larhonda is in there ironing Shon's clothes. Child, Larhonda gonna mother him if she don't do nothing else. He comes in and sees her in this dress, right? And he's like, why you wearing that? Child, that ain't nothing. You couldn't be with Jessica, honey. Did you see her dress last week? Child, you would have fell out, fainted. This is modest. He's like, thank you for ironing my clothes, making sure I put my best foot forward. And Larhonda's like, well, you didn't see that wrinkle I left in the back. I just love it. LaRhonda, but let him iron his own clothes, okay? If he want to be a big boy and if he want to fuss and fight and act like he a big boy, and he needs to iron his own clothes, child. He didn't iron that dress you got on. He's like, well, what's your date's name? She said, Sir James. He said, sounds like a priest. No, actually, he sounds like a knight or a king, honey, giving priestly king vibes. Shout out to Alexis from Ready to Love. So LaRhonda's like, that's fine if he's a priest. I don't want to hear no jokes about my date, honey. No Sir James slander will be tolerated, honey. And I agree, okay? Then, baby, I saw that car pull up, and Sir James shows up, 38, looking for a strong, independent woman. All the women who independent, throw your hands up at me. Shout out to Destiny's Child. When I tell y'all, baby, when Sir James got out of that car, yes, God. Yes, God, honey. He said he wants her to have a dope personality. He loves to laugh because he's silly at all times. He is single, no kids, responsible, and down to earth. Well, sir, honey, Sir James, if you will. You sound like my type. That's my type. That's my type. Now, look here, LaRhonda. If things don't work out, send Sir Michael to my channel, okay? You might have to come from behind the avatar. Child, send him to my DMs. Do you hear me? So then he knocks, and Shon gets the door. Shon said, yeah, my baby dating a linebacker, or he could be a superhero. He is giving very much Black Panther, honey. Wakanda forever. So he greets LaRhonda, very respectful as well. She's like, have a seat. No, ma'am. We need to get him and go before you drive Shon insane. There's no need to have a sit down. He's not meeting your father. This is Shon. We need to get him out and get him to the destination before Shon self-destructs. Y'all remember on MacGyver when they used to give MacGyver that little thing and he had a certain amount of time to solve it or whatever, or figure out what was happening before the bomb blew up? That's what we need to do with Shon. You do not have time to him and ha. Get your date and get out. Child, has MacGyver taught us nothing? So anyway, Shon is like, well, what made you want to do this? Because, this is my lady. He said, it's something new. You never know where you might find love. Baby. Shon said, you ain't going to find it here. Shon said, you will not get my woman. Oh, my goodness. So LaRhonda said, you never know. That's what the dates are for, babe. Honey, well, you might not never know, but I'm telling you right now, Shon is not playing those games with Sir James. So she said, I feel like I'm kind of walking on eggshells. And in all seriousness, you should not have to feel like that. Okay, this is a process that you both signed up for. I'm trying to figure out, what did Shon think he was signing up for? Like, y'all didn't watch the first season? Honey, this is an experiment. I think they let you know on those little flyers, this is a social experiment for your relationship. Sign up and we'll give you $500 or whatever On says, honey. But I don't know why Shon would sign up for something like this, knowing his insecurities meet you at the door. He's like screaming, I'm insecure, as soon as he opens the door. Honey, this is crazy. And you should not have to feel like that. Anyway, child, Shon, get out of that insecurity, honey, and get it under control before you self-destruct. So he walks them to the door and says the dates are meant to challenge them. And right now he has major trust issues. Shon, you're going to be able to see them on their date. It's going to be fine. So then we see him with his phone in his hand, right? And I was thinking, he probably texting LaRhonda right now, like, where you at? She's like, I'm in the driveway still. Shon, it's going to be all right, honey. It's going to be all right. Hopefully him being on a date will calm his nerves, child. We're going to get into it as we get into it. So LaRhonda said he's extremely attractive, talking about Sir James, and she wants to get to know him, but wants Shon to know that he can trust her to do the right things when it comes to their relationships. Girl, you better enjoy yourself and focus on you, honey. Do not worry about Shon. If you worry about him, then you're doing this in vain. You need to be worried about yourself. Sir James was like, well, where are you from? She's like, oh, I'm from Rock Hill, South Carolina. She said, I know you probably never heard of that. He's like, yeah, I played a flag football tournament out there. Did you really? She probably could have said, I'm from Fraggle Rock. And he would have said, I had I have family out there. Well, that's funny, Sir James, because Fraggle Rock is fictional. Child, I be cracking myself up, y'all. But anyway, child, I feel like he just lied in that moment. Now, you know how sometimes somebody asks you something and you're like, yeah, I know that. Oh, yeah, I've heard that song before. Knowing that it's a full-on lie. I feel like he does not know where this part of South Carolina is, but he wanted to impress the beautiful Larhonda, as he should. So as I see them sitting there interacting, they actually look pretty nice together. But Larhonda, like I said, honey, if you don't want him, send him to my DMs. So Larhonda is, talking with him or whatever, and I'm watching her, and she is just so naturally pretty. Not a lot of heavy makeup, no heavy lashes or 10 pounds of makeup. She's just South Carolina pretty. So she asked him what made him want to do this, right? He said, it's so many people that aren't ready. And she's like, what makes you think you're ready? So he started saying like his family and friends all have kids and they're doing soccer practices and stuff like that. And that's something that he wants. Now, Sir James, I do have one child, but he's well behaved. That's just a side note. So Brawless Britt walks up ready for the date with Shon. I was like, girl, that dress is ill-fitting at the top. But girl, go off, sis. So she's like, I'm single because the right man hasn't found me, honey. So speak your speech, Britt. Shon said, when I first saw her, he thought she's pretty. She's up through there. I'm like, now she all up and through. Okay, Shon, let me find out. So they couldn't even get to the door good, right? Before he starts saying, my girlfriend's in here. Shon, calm down. Ugh. So they come in and sit down, Shon nervously arranging the table. Boy, keep those hands still. What is wrong with you? She's like, when is your birthday? He said, December 8th. She's like, oh, you're a Sag. And he said, yeah. She says, I'm a Capricorn. Girl. He said, oh, you a singer. You sing. Child, they gonna give Shon and Larhonda a vocalist if they don't do nothing else. Honey, I don't know if this is something they signed up for, like give those two somebody that can sing or not, but honey, they gonna get a vocalist if they don't do nothing else. He's like, yeah, I'm a comedian. She said, well, what are you looking for? He said, somebody that understands an entertainer and an entrepreneur lifestyle, aka somebody that knows rent might be late if there were no shows that week. Honey, that's what I'm saying. She's like, translation, my light's off right now too. So baby, the creatives are making a go of it, honey, but I'm just kidding with y'all. So then he tells her that Rhonda is in corporate America. And, it's just so different because you really don't understand it unless you're in it. Well, it looks like it's working out pretty okay for you if you ask me. And you're losing your mind while she's sitting 2 feet away from you. So LaRhonda is over on the other side and she's like, you want a round of shots? Talking out loud. So then Shon looked up and said, oh, they're just loud for no reason. Shon even really be talking that loud. Well, Sir James would have anybody screaming all up and through, okay? And the date seems like speed dates, if you ask me, because they're so short. Because the next thing I knew, they were getting up and ready to leave the date. And I'm like, dang, y'all just got there. But then Shon did arrive, so it's kind of time to go. So Shon's date could tell he was uneasy, right? He was trying to ear hustle and pay attention to Britt. She's like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I think so. Shon is putting on this fake smile, trying to hold it, his lip quivering. Oh, child, this is going to be a disaster. As LaRhonda and the Black Panther get up and leave, LaRhonda was trying to get the hell out of Dodge, but it seems like Sir James was trying to get in front of her to open the door, right? And he touched the small of her back. Shon, calm down. Because he noticed that he touched the small of her back. And after he saw that, he could not even eat. Then on the other scene, we see Kai and Darion riding down the street. And Kai, you seem mighty comfortable in this front seat. Like you've been in this car several times before. And where did you pick her up from? Child, I don't trust Kai as far as I can throw him. So then he tells her that Alexia is going to be there with them while they're having their date. She's like, oh, a double date? He's like, no, she's going to be minding her business and we're going to be minding our business. So then Kai says in her little confessional, she said, look, I know they signed up for this, but I will not be a side chick. I'm not number 2. Ma'am, do you know what you signed up for? You voluntarily signed up to be second fiddle. He is not your man. So then she says, you're either going to be with me or be with her. I told y'all she wanted to divide and conquer. Darion, let this be your last date with Kai. Okay, let this be your last time because Kai cannot be trusted. So Jessica and Clarence show up to their date and she tells us that she's excited. Then she says, dang, he big. Honey, that's what she said. She was like, he got a lot of muscles. Oh, poor Jessica. Baby, what we gonna do with you? What are we gonna do with you? So they started talking about what she looks for in a guy. She's like, I want him to be open, honest, and respectful, and able to talk things through before they explode. Clarence seemed really engaged. He gave good eye contact. He says, he hates to argue and he will just automatically shut down. You're not about to argue with him. So Jessica said Clarence seemed very interested in her and not just her looks. And he did. Well, he looked good too. So that's why he's not threatened. Clarence asked, what's your spotlight? Like, what makes you unique? She said, I'm very genuine. I don't know, Eric. Jessica seems to be quite vocal over here to me. Child, I don't know. Maybe it's because he's interested in what she has to say. He compliments Jessica and she's blushing. And then Tanisha shows up. And she is so cute. And I was looking at her and I was like, I know this girl from somewhere. Where do I know her from? And then I realized that I've watched her YouTube channel before. She actually has a YouTube channel. Shout out to you, Tanisha. And she says she's looking for a funny, charismatic, independent man. Eric is looking all around the corner when they walk in, looking over his shoulder, trying to spot Jessica, not even engage in his date. It was a little bit touch and go there for a minute. So they come in, they sit down, right? And Jessica was like, ooh, I was not expecting that man to walk in. Why not, girl? That was the assignment. They literally said, you're going to go on a date in the same place with your spouse. Eric said that's my girl over there. What you think? She's like, oh, she's very beautiful. Eric, why are you acting like you are showing her a new car, honey? But she was so graceful because I would have said, oh, yeah, cool. So then she asked how they ended up there, right? He tells her, they have trust issues. And then she starts saying how she feels like it's human nature for women or people in general to find someone that's taken more attractive because they have someone, and it must mean they must be worth something. And she's actually correct, because every time it's almost like that syndrome where you only want something because someone else has it. So that's basically how people behave when they see. It's like you give off these pheromones. I have someone, please come hither. Honey, please leave those people alone if they're already involved. And it's just crazy because they thought that about my ex, honey, and then tried to return him. No, ma'am. No exchanges, no refunds. You wanted him, you got him. So he asked her what kind of man she deals with. She said, communication is very big. And Eric agreed because he likes to talk as well. He's like, I don't like awkward silence. I hate when I go out on dates with people or whatever, and I'm just trying to find things to talk about, and they're trying to find things to talk about. I don't like that. And she's like, yeah, same here. I like that. They are really vibing, and she is cute. And they're having a real good conversation. They're kikiing big time, but I see her as more of a friend. Personally, I don't think she found him attractive. I know later on he says a few things, but I don't actually think that she found him attractive. So Eric said, he's actually having a great time. This is what he said in the confessional. He's actually having a great time because of their conversation. And he actually forgot Jessica was there. And it felt good to be engaged with somebody. Over at the other table, Jessica's like, well, what do you feel about somebody being over there? He's like, oh, I forgot. This is what her date said. Clarence was like, I forgot all about him. Jessica, you're the only one concerned, hun. Stay focused. So then Darian and Kai, they come in with all that wag and she dragging, and they have a seat, right? He's like, yeah, it's going to be hard for me to focus on Kai. Especially with Alexia coming. So Alexia is outside waiting for her date. Alexia, you a baddie. Girl, stop covering up in all that fabric. Let smoke see your smoke, honey. She's like, yeah, I'm ready for me to date someone and go out with someone that's something totally different than what I've been doing. Up comes her date. Oh, child, why y'all do my sis like that? He looked dressed like he going to run errands at the post office. Now, don't get me wrong. He was a pretty nice guy. But he wasn't dressed right. I don't like it. Honey, she's judged to the gods, and he coming out dressed like he dressing. So she's like, my first impression of Desi is that he's vibrant. Child, not vibrant. That's all you could come up with was vibrant. Okay, Alexia, we'll take it. She said, he kept flirting with me, as he should. Alexia, let me tell you something, honey. Okay, as your older and wiser sis that's been through 2 marriages and a plethora of relationships, okay? I want you to embrace your femininity and find your identity outside of Darian. I know you keep saying, yeah, I do my own thing. I have my own. No, I want you to embrace you. I know after 14 years, you don't really see all the zhuzh that you are, but I need you to understand, sis, that you are still popping. Even walking into the restaurant, you had your head down a little bit. Honey, stand up tall, shoulders back. Let them see your zhuzh. Girl, don't be walking in with your head held down. Honey, you need to walk and sashay right on in the same way Big Booty Judy did when she walked past you with your man hand in hand. I need you to stand up and command attention. Girl, So when they walked in and sat down, he started asking her about herself, right? She told him, she works in sales and she works for the Atlanta Hawks part-time, right, in player development. He's like, oh, okay, so you're a Jackie of all trades. He's really engaged with her, okay? He's really trying to get to know her and very physically attracted to her. So Kai's like, what's going through your head right now? He's like, I'm very comfortable. I just can't even eat. He's like, I'm very overwhelmed. Well, Kai sure could, honey. She was tearing that macaroni and cheese up. I was like, baby, Kai gonna get her meal if she don't do nothing else. She's like, well, you must not be hungry. I don't think he is. He's like, no, I'll just eat later. Then she said that Alexia had killed their vibe. She should kill your vibe. That's her man. Girl, oh, strong face heifer. So then out of nowhere, he says, she's intimidated by you for some reason. Are you out of your rabbit's mind? Why would you ever think it's a good idea to tell this woman you just met, your woman of 14 years, is intimidated by her? You never disgrace your lady like that and have the next chick thinking she has a one-up on her. The women like her thrive and feed off that. Why would you even say that? As he's saying that, Alexia is kind of cutting her eyes at them. Girl, F them. Focus on what's in front of you. Focus on what's his name. I can't even think of his name. I'm so mad. Focus on Desi. Child, even if you don't like him, don't give them the satisfaction. She's like, is it because I'm pretty? Well, honey, that's subjective, okay? She's like, is it because you like me? Girl, hush. Girl, gone, honey. He's like, no, she just knows what I like. I'm so tired of hearing this. Well, if you like something other than what you have, then why did you choose her? And why did you hold on to her for 14 years? Is it comfortability? Honey, because if that's the case, then you need to get you a body pillow and let somebody else keep Alexia warm at night. You are starting to get on my nerves. So Alexia said, my boyfriend right over there. He's like, that's okay. I'm focused on you and your energy. I know that's right. So he's trying to make small talk, right? Alexia is totally preoccupied because she hears Darian goofy behind and Kai, they keep saying her name, right? So her day said, what you looking at? She said, I told you he's right over there, if you want to look at him right quick. Oh, no, baby. That man does not care about Mr. Mob. No one cares about him. Child, Alexia love that man. Friend, we going to have to learn to live in the moment. We going to have to learn to live in the moment. So then he's like, your dude from Field Mob? She's like, yeah, that's part of the problem. Everybody know him, and he's supposed to be in the studio. Alexia, we are going to have to break you out of that talking about Darian every date. I know 14 years is hard, but Alexia, you are a force all by yourself. Let them see who you are. If you're just going to keep on talking about Darian, then you should not even have accepted to go on this show. Honey, y'all could just work through your problems together. He is getting the full experience while you are sitting here constantly talking about him. Girl, So Desi was like, all she wants to do is talk about her boyfriend, and that's crazy. It is. So Desi said, I need you to start focusing on yourself. She said, I focus on myself. He said, nah, I mean like not letting people play you. She said, you think he playing me? Honey, like a fiddle, sis, like a fiddle. He's like 14 years and 2 years. It's looking like. So Darian and Kai, they get up and leave the restaurant, right? And she's holding his hand, smiling in Kai's face. You know why though, huh? Because she doesn't respect you or your relationship, especially after your man told her that you were intimidated by her. Child. She's like, we gonna let go of hands. We gonna let go of hands. Child. Her day was like, why you worried about that? Hang it up, dude, honey. She's still stuck and she's not interested, child. Just don't even worry about it. Don't even try to talk her out of it. Over at Eric and Jessica's home, he gets back. He's all super happy and hyper. And she's like, oh, he acting suspect. When he came home, he was a little bit too happy. She's like, what's wrong with you? What you do? Well, honey, he's been mentally stimulated. That's why. So she's like, what did you do? He said, that was one, if not the best conversation that I have ever had. She's like, don't get carried away. We had some deep conversations. Well, honey, he said you can't hold a conversation unless you gone off the henny. Now, I don't know if you were present during the first episode, but he said you have to have your drink and your two-step, your drink and your two-step in order to have a conversation. He said, you want me to lie? He's like, she stimulated my mind. He said, I'm not trying to hurt her. This is what he's saying in his confessional. I just want her to open up to me the way that she opened up to me. And I really hope that she sees that it takes more than a pretty face and a nice body to keep a man interested. Because, honey, beauty fades, but you need some substance and some depth. So she said, well, how did you feel about us being in the same space? She completely ignored what he just said, right? He said, honestly, I was locked in. I felt like we were in an empty room. Baby, she was not happy. She was like, okay, I think you're putting a little bit too much on it. He said, he feels like that she had him in a bubble because he was completely enthralled in what they were talking about, right? So he starts explaining their conversation. She starts getting emotional, but this is what I was thinking. I hope that she takes from this that the man is begging for dialogue. Don't cry. You need to be listening to what he's saying so that you can take that into account. So he says he wants them to connect, on more than just a physical level. And then after all of that, she says, bet. See, this is what he's saying. This was your opportunity to open up and begin a conversation. You could have taken that moment and had a very open and deep conversation about the reasons that he feels this way, so that you can let him know that you are willing to have conversations with him, the tough conversations. But instead, you come with some childish response like, bet. I'm like, okay, girl. So the couples are back with Dr. Nicole. Not color coordinated this week, I see. Honey, it must be trouble in paradise. And she asked about their week. Some said good, others said not so good, right? So Dr. Nicole starts with Larhonda and Shon. So she's like, Shon, how was your day with Brittany? He was like, oh, it was cool, but I really couldn't get into the conversation because I was worrying about what Larhonda and Muscles were doing, right? So Dr. Nicole said, anything to add? So he starts showing his comedic skills. He's like, yeah, I don't even think she really liked the dude, that y'all picked for her. She don't even like Muscles. It ain't gonna be no love. So all the other couples were laughing, right? Now, I thought he was joking. However, there is some insecurity wrapped in his jokes. So then Dr. Nicole was like, Mr. Shon, now how do you get to say that for her? Sounds like tactical control options. Dr. Nicole, hush, honey. It sounded like a joke to me. Now, I know that Shon does have his problems. Don't get me wrong. I know that there's some therapy that needs to be had. I know he likes to manipulate her emotions and make her feel trapped and all of this. But in this moment, I actually know that he was just joking. He was trying to make himself feel better about his insecurities and seeing her go out on this date with someone else. But Dr. Nicole and her ponytail, honey, she took it a whole nother way. So then she asked Larhonda, and she said, look, I had fun. The conversation was great. He was visually appealing, a.k.a. fine, okay? So now here is where Shon gets carried away. He said, yeah, he put his hand on the small of her back and did, okay? And Larhonda said, I didn't feel that. Honey, you had all those shots. You weren't going to feel it. But it's okay. So Larhonda starts explaining herself, right? He's like, you want me to trust you or my own eyes? Baby, now he sounds just like me when I used to find my ex-husband doing stuff that he wasn't supposed to be doing. And then he tried to convince me that he wasn't doing it. And I saw it with my own eyes. So Larhonda said, Shon has some serious jealousy issues. And he always feels like something is brewing and she's exhausted. Poor Larhonda. Shon, she's tired. Okay, she's tired of trying to carry your emotional baggage, carry the relationship, try to be the strong one, walk on eggshells, and do everything that you think she should do to make you happy. That is too much on one person. You're either going to have to change some things or you're going to have to be by yourself. Because, baby, that's too much. Dr. Nicole said, well, do you trust her? He said, yeah, but she said, no, do you trust her? He said, yes, period. Okay, it's a lie, honey. It's a city girl lie. Shon, no, you don't, honey. You over here closing your eyes, taking deep breaths. Honey, nobody can spend a lifetime with all of that. So then they went over to Alexia. Alexia said her date was shooting his shot and missing like Shaq at a 3-point line because you caught up in Darian. So, I mean, he wasn't going to be able to get through. So then Darian said he couldn't get into it because he was too worried about what Alexia was doing and what she was going to feel, right? Alexia said, well, the way they left, it looked like they were going to a hotel. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. It did look very suspicious the way that they left. Baby, that was a motel walkout, okay? A Motel 6 will leave the light on for you. I can't lie. So then she said, and then she laughed at me like I was a joke. Now, the joke is sitting next to you, honey. He play all day. And the reason why she laughed at you is because he gave her a space and an opportunity to make you feel less than. That's why, honey, I can't wait for you to watch this back. And she's like, and then she grabbed his hand. So here he go. Well, what am I supposed to do? Embarrass the girl in front of all these people? Now it's not the time to be playing, Darian. Now is not the time. Honey, Alexia, a better woman than me. Darian is disrespectful. And I hope when she watches this back, she sees how disrespectful he actually is. So he's like, well, I was trying to show her that I wasn't trying to hold her hand. I was like, look, I'm trying to show you no hands. He's like, look, ma, no hands. He said, look, ma, no hands. Shout out to Waka Flocka Flame. That's all I could think about when he was saying that. So then Dr. Nicole said, well, what if you were to focus on your own date? They're human, sis, okay? I know you want them to be perfect, but the assignment was for them to see their insecurities and take the opportunity to handle it differently. And I'm sure in another circumstance, Alexia would have tackled him to the ground. So therefore, and thus and such, she handled it differently. Don't worry about it, Alexia, girl. I got your back. But I do see what Dr. Nicole is saying, that she should have been focused on her date and not focused on Darian, because she does need to focus on herself. But at the same time, we're all human. Okay, so if I saw my man and I was in this situation, which I wouldn't even put myself in this situation to begin with, but if I were in this situation and I saw my man walking by, I would have an attitude too. I would have something to say. So Jessica said, her date was great. He was well-mannered. Eric said his date was amazing, made him forget Jessica was even on a date. And she said, anything you got from her conversation that may be missing? He said, yeah, depth. Basically, honey, he wants to talk about more than IG angles and what happened on the shade room. Honey, you're going to have a conversation. That requires you to listen, process what's being said, and give a rebuttal. Not just sitting there taking selfies and acting like he's not speaking to you. So Jessica was like, oh, you're a little bit too excited to explain it. So Eric said, she wasn't really his normal type, but he's learning that it's not always about looks. So Jessica said, I thought we was having great conversation, but obviously not. So then Dr. Nicole said, well, what do you think about him being intrigued? But it had nothing to do with the physical. She's like, well, that's all he had to work with, because I put on Eric that that's all he's into is looks and sex and whatever. No, sweetheart. The young lady was beautiful. Maybe not his type, but she was beautiful. Accept that your man wants more substance from you. Acknowledge that you have relied on your looks and recognize you actually have to try. You can't just show up. You can't phone in a relationship. You have to actually participate. Then Dr. Nicole starts saying some psychobabble about it's one thing to know your partner. It's another thing to think you have the color palette to paint them without the opportunity to say, I don't know, child. She was basically trying to say, based on what Jessica said, she thinks she can paint Eric to be whatever it is she wants him to be. He wants to be purple, but she wants him to be green. And I was like, girl, no, honey, no. What are you saying? You need to tell Jessica, no, sweetheart. He's telling you as much as you think you're talking, you're not. Ugh. Dr. Nicole gets on my nerves. So then it's time for the couples to decide if they will be going on another date. Darian said, I need a do-over because I didn't get... Okay, Darian, please with the explanation, honey. Just say you want to date Big Booty Kai again. Moving forward. Alexia said, nah, I wasn't really feeling it. I mean, he's cool, but I'm just not attracted to him. I mean, even if she were focused on him, I don't think that he would have been her type. So Eric said, no, because Conversation aside, I actually want to be attracted to her, and I don't think that's there for me. So then Jessica was like, yeah, I actually do want to go on another date. And I'm like, you did all that huffing and puffing about the conversation of it all, and then you want to go out again with Clarence. So then they get to Larhonda. Baby, Larhonda looks scared as hell. So Dr. Nicole said, Larhonda, and you? And scene. Child, and then they went to next week on Put a Ring on It. Child, I cannot wait. Listen, Larhonda, I'm speaking directly to you. Please do not let Shon influence the way that you move in this process so that you can get as much out of it as possible. I want to see the two of you win. And let me put my Dr. Nicole voice on. I want to see the two of you win, but not at the expense of your own happiness. Child, please do not hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Share this with a friend. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.